Hello everyone, it's me Uncle and today I am going to read S6 6024, The Mystery of the Stolen Bike. Chapter 1. The Franskys were eating dinner in their apartment. At least Mr. and Mrs. Fransky and their older daughter, Catherine, were eating dinner. The younger daughter, Francine, was not eating at all. She was just sitting in her chair with her arms folded. Francine sulking. Sulking, said Catherine. I'm not, said Francine. I don't even know what that means. It means you are a little out of sorts, said her father Oliver, a bit upset about not getting your way. Well, why shouldn't I be? Said Francine. I'm sorry, honey, said her mother, Lavan, but we can't afford to get you a new bike right now. Maybe next year. Francine continued to sulk. It's not fair. I'll just die without a bike. Her father gasped. No, say it's not true. He dropped to one knee and grabbed Francine's hand. You mustn't give up, honey. Leave. I say leave. He would have continued, but Francine started to giggle. Pretty soon he was laughing himself. Oh, Dad, said Catherine, do you really think a silly trick like that'll work? Her father saluted her and stood up straight and tall. Well, it worked on you when you were Francine's age. He stroked his chin. But perhaps you're right. I don't know what came over me. Besides, I have an idea. He got up from the table, held out his hand to Francine. Come with me, he said. They went down to the basement, where the Franskys had a storage compartment. While her father unlocked it, Francine sat on the bottom step. She didn't see the point of coming down here. It was dark. There were cobwebs, and the air smelled a little funny. Aim that flashlight over this way, said her father. Francine pointed the light toward the corner. That's better. Mr. Fransky rummaged around behind some boxes. Aha, here it is. He moved the box aside to reveal an old bicycle. Then he wheeled it over to her. Drum roll, please. Francine's face fell. This bike was not only old, it was also ugly, bright. Purple with chipped paint, or rusted handlebars, and a glittery burnt orange banana seat. What is it? Your new bike, her father explained. Well, actually, it's an old new bike. He wiped off an enormous cobweb between the handlebars. Dad, bikes have changed a lot since the Stone Age. Her father inspected it. I don't know about that. They still have two wheels, a seat, and handlebars. And you don't see a banana seat like this every day. Definitely a collector's item, but I don't want a collector's item. I want a cross bike with 21 gears. My father laughed. All those gears just get confusing. 3 gears are plenty. He clicked through them as he spun the wheels. Well, this needs a little oil. It's in great shape. When I was your age, I rode it to school every day. I know you'll come to appreciate it as much as I did. He patted the seat happily. Francine just sighed. If you say so, she said, but she didn't have much hope. Chapter 2. It's not a bicycle, Arthur was saying. Bicycles cannot fly. Well, that is true. Buster admitted. They were talking about last night's episode of the Bionic Bunny show. The bunny had a new vehicle for chasing villains and assorted bad guys. I never watched that show, said Muffy, locking up her bike. There are much more educational and important things to watch. Like what? Buster and Arthur said together. The home shopping channel. Of course, if you don't pay attention to that, you can miss some really fabulous buying opportunity. Buster rolled his eyes. I'll take my chances, he said. Take a chances with that? With what? Asked Francine as she rode up behind them and got off her bike. Buster turned to her. With skipping the home shopping, he stopped talking and started. What's that you're riding? The others looked too. Whoa, where are my sunglasses? Haha. So Francine, this is my new bike. Buster laughed. New? In what century? Too bad you couldn't get one like mine, said Muffy. She had the latest model, 24 gears, graphite alloy frame, and radial brake pads. I could have had any bike I wanted, said Francine, but I chose this one. Murphy frowned. But Francine, why? Tradition. This bike was my dad's. It's like a family heirloom. He was able to do all kinds of tricks with it. I guess that makes it different, Murphy admitted, but she didn't look very convinced. The biggest trick, Buster whispered to Arthur, will be if she can make it look like any better. Later that afternoon, Kay's teacher, Mr. Rappan, was just showing slides to the class. The wheel, he said, is thought to have been invented approximately 5,000 years ago in the Middle East by the Sumerians or the Babylonians, asked the brain. I always get all those eons mixed up, sighed Arthur. It is confusing, agreed Mr. Rappan. In this case, I believe it was the Sumerian. Can anyone tell us what these ancient people might have done with their new wheels? Buster waved his arm wildly. Yes, Buster. Built to Francine's bicycle. Everyone laughed. Everyone but Francine and Muffy. Even after Mr. Rappan ordered them to stop, a few kids continued to snicker. Stop picking on Francine, Muffy told Buster. Yes, said Francine. It's not her fault. She has to ride an ugly old bicycle, Muffy went on. Francine blinked. Oh? Muffy pressed her finger in Buster's chest. Just think how you would feel, she said. Buster's face changed in mid-laugh. He looked embarrassed. So did everyone else. They got very quiet, but none of them felt as embarrassed as Francine did. Deep down inside, when nobody could see. Chapter 3. After school, Francine rushed outside while everyone else was still talking in the hall. She was mad and sad at the same time. This new bike was causing nothing but trouble. It was making everyone look at it differently. She wouldn't mind standing out for something special like throwing a good fastball, but being teased and laughed at was no fun. It was no fun at all. She went straight to the bike rack, half hoping that maybe this was all a bad dream. But it wasn't a dream, and her bike hadn't changed. It was still sitting there in all its disgusting purple glory. Why couldn't someone have come along and stolen it? She wondered. They had the whole day. But even if no one had taken the bike, that didn't mean she had to keep looking at it. Glancing around, she noticed some bushes at the edge of the schoolyard. She wheeled the bike into them and rested it behind the garbage can. For a moment, she thought the bike gave her a sad look. Don't worry, she whispered. I'm not deserting you, not yet anyway. I just need some time to think. And it's better to not see you while I'm thinking. Then she went back to the front of the school. Arthur, Muffy, and Buster were waiting for her. They all had their bikes and backpacks. Where were you, Muffy asked. You disappeared from class awfully fast. Arthur poked Buster in the side. Buster has something he wants to say to you. Don't you, Buster? Yes, I do. Francine, I'm sorry for what I said before, insulting your bike, I mean. And we're sorry we laughed too, said Arthur. You know, my father has the beat-up frying pan from his early cooking days. It's all black, with a few dents and scratches. I once asked him why he didn't buy a shiny new one to use instead. He said there was something friendly about the old pan that just made food taste better. I'm sure your bike was like that for your dad. Rachel nodded. She felt a little better. Thanks, Arthur said. And you too, Buster? Murphy looked along the bike bag. Where's your bike anyway? I'm not using it right at the moment. I just feel like walking. We're going down to the sugar bowl, said Arthur. Are you coming? Francine wasn't really in the mood, even though she was glad her friends had apologized, and she still felt out of place. Why did she have to be the one to stand out? She didn't want people to feel sorry for her, even if they were nice about it. Maybe I'll see you there later, she said. Arthur shrugged. Okay, bye, said Muffin Buster. They all rode off, leaving Francine with her thoughts. Chapter 4 that night. Francine sat on the edge of a bed, bouncing a tennis ball on the floor. With every bounce, Francine wished for another bike. Not just any bike, a bike that would make Arthur and Buster wish they had one too. A bike even Murphy would admire. Her father popped in. What's that noise? Practicing your coordination? I guess. Practice is important as a baseball coach. I can vouch for that. Speaking of coordination, how's the new bike? Is it the right height? The bike is purple, Francine said dully. Very purple. Her father nodded. That was my favorite color when I was your age. Purple is the color of royalty, dignified, majestic. Really? Oh, yes, it was greatly valued in ancient times. Like back when they were inventing the wheel? Exactly, Francine sighed. That figures. So naturally, it seemed like a great color to pick for a bike. Mr. Frensky got a funny look on his face. Francine had seen it before. It was his boyhood memories. Look, a story was bound to follow. Doesn't it ride great? Did you feel how it handles corner? I remember one time you're going to have a race through the neighborhood. I had never even come close to winning on my old bike. Then I got this one. Francine stopped bouncing the ball. What happened? Well, we all lined up, and there was this one kid, a big bruiser, was always bragging about how fast his bike was. You know the type, I wanted to beat him in the worst way. So the race starts, and I'm pedaling like crazy. With the banana seat, I can really lean hard on the pedals. I'll never forget the look on some of the kids' faces as I passed them. So you won? My father laughed. Not exactly. The bruiser won as usual, but at least I was right in the middle. For me, that was a big improvement. Oh. Her father looked at her. Don't look so disappointed, Francine. I was really happy just to do better. It wasn't that. I was wondering about what? Yes? Well, you just said how exciting it was for you to get this new bike. Definitely. I thought my face was going to crack because I was grinning so widely. But don't you see? It was new for you back then. It's not new for me anymore. If I got a new bike, I could feel the same way you did. Mr. Frensky sighed. I wish I could get you a new one, honey, but we don't have the extra money right now. My old bike has a long and proud history. I'm afraid that's going to have to satisfy you for now. Francine started bouncing the ball again. She was a long way from feeling satisfied, a very long way. And from the way her father was talking, she could tell she wasn't going to get much closer anytime soon. Chapter 5. The next morning, Francine walked slowly to school. She had hoped that the start of a new day would make her feel better. But even though the sun was shining and the birds were singing, she felt just as bad as she had the day before. As she turned the corner up ahead, she saw the bushes where she had hidden the bike. Her view, though, was partly blocked by a city garbage truck. The garbage collectors were out early, emptying the trash can. Oh, she thought. Just then, one of the men picked up Francine's bike and threw it into the truck. Francine started to run. Hey, she shouted, waving her arms. Come back here. You got my bike in there, but the collectors couldn't hear her over the roar of the truck's engine. They pulled away before she could get their attention. Francine came to a stop. She was breathing hard. This was terrible. The bike was gone. What was she going to do now? She could only imagine what her father would say. As she entered the schoolyard, Buster and Arthur zoomed up on their bikes. Arthur braked to a stop while Buster circled around them. Hey, Francine, said Buster, want to do some wheelies before school starts? I can. I don't have my bike. Where is it? Asked Arthur. I don't know, she said. Even though she was partly glad to be rid of the bike, she didn't feel comfortable telling her friends what had happened. How can you not know? Asked Buster. He sometimes lost track of his stuff too, but nothing as big as a bicycle. Stolen? Are you sure? Of course she's sure, said Buster. You don't make mistake about something like that, right, Francine? Yeah, I mean, I had it yesterday, and now it's gone. Gone? What's gone? Said Sue Ellen, who was just arriving with Murphy. Someone stole Francine's bike, said Arthur. That's terrible. Murphy looked confused. Why would anyone steal that? I mean, your bike, she asked. Francine shrugged. It was pretty old. Murphy gasped. Hey, that could be the reason. What if it was so old it was an antique? She started waving her arms. Help! Police! What's going on? Asked the brain, coming up behind them. Francis' bike was stolen. I bet it was a gang of international bike thieves. They are probably going to sell it on the black market. No, said Francis, who was beginning to think that saying the bike had been stolen wasn't such a good idea after all. Calm down, said Arthur. Let's try not to panic. We should tell Mr. Haney, said the brain. You're right. Maybe we can still catch whoever stole it. They can't have gotten far. No, wait, said Francis. She didn't want to drag the school principal into this, but it was too late. All the other kids were running into the school. All she could do was follow behind them. The end.